So the mayor is back in trouble again. And this time, it's not about the migrant crisis. He's always in trouble about that. He's always in trouble with African Americans. He's in trouble with everybody, even with the spot shooter thing or spot shotter. Whatever the case is, the guy is a terrible mayor. But now he's gotten himself in trouble for not saying anything. Now, stop the show. I know what you're meaning. Like, what do you mean when you say he's in trouble for not saying anything? Well, rewind. You know, there's a war going on right now between Israel and Palestine. In fact, we have a lot of wars going on. You know, Iran just, sent some missiles over to Israel. Ukraine and Russia are going at it. But the Israel-Palestine conflict kind of has the world divided. Celebrities are divided on the issue. Some people, like myself, I don't really understand the issue, so I kind of stay out of the issue. But the mayor can't really stay out of the issue. Firstly, because the governor, Pritzker, is Jewish, and you have a lot of Jewish people in Chicago. It's one of the most Jewish cities, I believe, besides New York City in America. They even have institutions there, like the Pritzker, I believe, School of Medicine is one of them. So Jewish people have money in Chicago, and they're not a big part of the population like African Americans or Hispanics. But when things like this happen,
Ravi, we just arrived here. We're at the corner of Clark and Adams on the east side of the street, and it appears as though these pro-Palestinian demonstrators have about a city block shut down through the loop. They are on the block between Clark and LaSalle along Adams, and they are marching along holding signs saying things like "End the ceasefire," "Christians for ceasefire." It's difficult to tell from our vantage point how many people are in that group, but it appears as though it could be as many as several hundred. This is the view from Chopper 7 HD right now, and just a little while ago, about a half hour ago, we saw some pretty heated exchanges between demonstrators and police.
That's right. When those riots happen and that anti-Semitism thing happens, they're going to be pissed off. Again, Brandon Johnson doesn't seem to be the biggest supporter of Israel. But recently, he wanted to talk to some of the Jewish leadership in Chicago, and they declined to meet him. Let's find out why.
Ravi, in a scathing letter, the city's only Jewish alderperson and 2 Jewish members of the General Assembly questioning the mayor's ability to lead. They and others declining an invitation to be part of a mayor's roundtable this Monday.
I do not feel that the Jewish community feels that he's got our back.
Northside Alderwoman Deborah Silverstein, State Senator Sarah Feigenholtz, and State Representative Bob Morgan telling the mayor in this letter, before calling for a roundtable on anti-Semitism, a true leader should begin by demonstrating a modicum of empathy for the Jewish community.
We need our mayor to unite us instead of continuing to divide us.
Their letter takes Mayor Johnson to task for casting the tie-breaking vote to pass the city's Israel-Hamas ceasefire resolution.
And I vote aye.
And for not condemning what they say were anti-Semitic chants and flyers at a student walkout the day of that vote.
They were praised for walking out, but what about the Jewish kids that go to CPS? The Jewish kids whose parents call me and say, my child is afraid to go to school. What are we doing about them?
The letter also accuses the mayor of relative silence amid growing anti-Semitism in the city, which has included several incidents of anti-Jewish flyers and substances being left on cars and doorsteps.
He has a lot of fences to mend. I hope it's not irreparable, but he needs to make a move.
This evening, the mayor's office declined to comment on that letter. Leaders from 2 prominent Jewish groups, the Anti-Defamation League and Jewish United Fund, tell us they've also declined the mayor's invitation for similar reasons.
Now that's a Jewish alderman, and listen to how she talks. He's not catering to our issues. He's not speaking up on this. He's not defending us. And that may come off to some people as entitlement. Because first of all, there are not many Jewish people in Chicago like it is Hispanics or African Americans. Why is she so adamant that Brandon Johnson back Israel? When it seems like to me, he's trying to stay more or less out of the issue, or maybe he's a secret Palestine supporter. I'm not sure, but he hasn't done anything to call out anti-Semitism in these riots. But listen to how she speaks. Look at the strength of her stance. It doesn't matter about the migrant crisis to her. It doesn't matter about what's going on in Black Chicago or Hispanic Chicago. Of course, that matters to her somewhat, I'm pretty sure. The most important thing that she's concerned with, what are you doing for our people? And we're gonna go back to this particular clip of this African-American lady that just talked about this city council meeting and look at the same energy and drive she's talking with.
Christmas is coming early this year. We're gonna check that list when it go up on that wall for voting, and we're gonna check it twice. And we're gonna find out who's been naughty or nice based on how y'all vote. And we're gonna start it off with Maria Haton. Yeah.
Chicago and some communities so angry? Why is all this kind of anti-immigrant sentiment coming up? And I want to explain to folks, it's because if we cared as much about black people and had over the decades as we do about everyone else, we wouldn't be here. But the money from a 2020.
All right. That would be Maria Haton. Stepping out there, I see you. Don't get sarcastic because we can get jiggy, right? You sit up here for that first 51 million talking about how you feel about black people and how you have to have the same energy for black people, and you ain't never stood on this floor talking about money for black people. You get on this floor and talk about black and brown because you somewhere in the middle with it, right? But I'll tell you this, and I'm telling every other black alderman in here today, you vote for the money for these immigrants today, and we coming for them seats. You can believe that. You're going to stop pimping the black people's plight to get brown people, as y'all call it, money. You're going to give us our press conference up there on the 3rd floor, keep talking to the mayor's boy with the clink clink from his past. That's why he got to do what the mayor say do. Him and a lot of other ones in here with these shady pasts. That's why you got to vote the way that you vote. But all of us ain't got shady passes. Some of us free out here. And we can vote how we want to vote. And we coming for those seats. Now, to align yourself with somebody who's obviously a one-term mayor, if he even makes it that far, you better be worrying about your job. You better be worrying about your longevity. Because we going to vote and we going to get you out. Because you ain't doing right by us. That's what time it is. And for your law person that's next to you, I'm going to need you to check out that federal charge that I got against those public administrators over there for messing with black people's property. It's federal case number 23CB14590. All right? And on that note, if y'all don't give us our money for the black community, know this, we getting ready to file a federal injunction against City Hall for benign neglect to the south side and west side. You got that? Boom.
Now, both the Jewish lady and the African-American lady, they're saying the same thing. The only difference is one group is more economically viable than the other, okay? But the stance is the same. The African-American community and blacks in general, we can learn a lot from the Jews in that regard. You don't have to like the Jews or don't like the Palestinians. But one thing about both of those groups is they want you to support them, and if you don't, you're done. That's what she's telling Mayor Brandon Johnson, and they have tactics to be able to address this. You want to meet with us? No, we will not meet with you until you make a decision on who you're going to support. You want support from us in any way, you will adhere to what we want to do. And this is what the blacks must do. Every group does this that have political viability. That's why people always say when it comes to Jewish people, they don't really have to vote because they are the vote. You're going to do this or you're not going to get support from us with this industry. This is why the culture of doing business within a group is so important. Showing up to city hall meetings and city council meetings are great, but the business you do with your group is the greatest. The money and the values that you share with your group with transparency is the greatest. Because when you make a statement like the Jewish Alderman did, people will actually believe it and they'll think twice about messing with you. But when you don't have that and your people are segregated, and the only time you can come together when it's for a protest or something like that, and you're not really pushing a big weight in an economy like you should, when you should be, because you got money and you got the numbers, you don't get that respect. And we got to understand that we should talk to Brandon Johnson in the same way and try to get our economics in the same way to get a different result. That's the issue. A different result with a different way of thinking. We have to love our group the same way that the Jews love their group. Not out of just convenience to love you. Nope. Even when we disagree, even when we can't see eye to eye, that's why you have to always do business with your people and build your people up. So at the time when it comes for this, everybody's on code. Even those who are not even Jewish should have to have a position on it. Wait a minute. What's your position on this? Are you with us or not? If not, here's the consequence. And I like what she's doing. It's smart. I just wish we would do the same thing too. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Jackson back at it again with another episode here at Kinganda. We're out.